Hello, Divine Feminines. How are you? I've been shuffling my cards. I didn't get to this deck, though. And I apologize that the last reading took so long to upload. It took 2 days, and it's on the floor. I don't know why. It was very strange. I feel like there's interference in the energy right now. I feel like there may be like missed calls, missed connections, misunderstandings. I feel like there's we are going up to a new level, a new frequency, and that may, you know, I'm not really one to get into spiritual warfare stuff, but I feel like whenever our twin lights shine brighter, we ascend, it does draw attention from lower vibrational entities or people. So be aware of that. Gosh, I made this too close, but we'll work with it. I'm going to try to do a short reading today. You have Dragonfly, they have Hawk. Very powerful energies. 2232. Snake, 5-5. Crazy. Ant Spirit, 1. Magician energy. Kind of took the darker decks off my table for a minute. That last reading I posted was so intense. Now, sometimes I go back and I listen to my readings as me so I can get the messages I need to get, but I think they download really. I didn't go back and listen to that one because like the residue from channeling it was so strong. It's very, very intense. I don't even necessarily think that it dealt with the most intense like subjects. There was a density to it that was very powerful. So, Temperance and 10 of Cups in reverse. Like I said, I feel like there's a delay here. I feel there's some sort of plan for a new beginning. In love. 5 of Cups, 8 of Cups, Ace of Cups, 10 of Cups. It's just an overwhelming emotions here. So I also want to talk about, I saw a post that kind of triggered something. Four of Wands again, 7 of Swords. Oh, interesting. I feel like this person is like, if they're physically near you, I feel like they're driving by your house or work or where they think you would be. They may show up out of the blue. I get out of the blue energy here. Out of the blue, just coming back. No warning, no. Okay, so let's talk about the animal cards. They're wanting me to do that. You're having this moment of clarity and truth on your masculine side. It does seem to have to do with, it's so interesting here. This is really interesting that we are healing our masculine and feminine energies. So wow. The way that you looked at like providing financial abundance, creating abundance, what we know as a masculine energy in you is being like, it's like blessed, healed. The lotus is here again, and just really like a mastery is coming. 22 is master number. The masculine's really understanding like how much energy it takes to emotionally care and give and carry this heartbreak, right? Between you is a time to heal. What a beautiful energy, and that we are releasing these deep wounds where we didn't feel cared for in our family or by our own thoughts, right? Because it all comes back to our own thoughts. Especially the father energy. Emotionally, if your father wasn't there. Financially, if your father wasn't there. There's a lot of healing going on around this. So let's see. This healing will remove these blockages. I see a lovely tenderness coming through. That's a new feeling, like a new cycle. What's catching in my heart? Good Lord. Okay. That's going to take your breath away. 6. I do get King of Queens of Wands here, although the King's not here. Right? Right. We have 3 cards with these blackbirds. 4 cards with blackbirds. Very intense reckoning your masculine's going through right now. We also see the black and the white horse here. And when I was shuffling, they were kind of pointing out my cup to me, which has kind of been a companion to me on this journey. And the black and the white of it. And how meaningful that is at this time. One of the things that's coming through is always this card with the one, you know, kind of white spiritual dove. You and your masculine could feel these are very deep, heavy cards down here. Very spiritual energy in a lot of ways. And, you know, I started off saying I feel a really light, playful energy. And I think what they're bringing up to me is that, you know, in the darkest of times, remember your playful heart. Because you won't be in this energy forever. So much for doing light reading here. Okay, so I'd love for the energy of the star to be here. I feel like there is hope coming. And intuitively, I feel like you know this, but you see no signs of it yet. I feel like you're waiting on healing, and healing is waiting on you. And so there's something here that your masculine's going to say or do soon. For some of you, this may have already happened. That is like a light in the darkness. And specifically, it's like, yeah, light in the darkness. You have, this is kind of weird, Chariot, reverse, 8 of Cups, and then the 8 here, accelerated motion in reverse. I can't remember, but I feel like in yesterday's reading, or it's 2 days ago now, there was something about wanting to go fast. I really can't remember when I channel. It's so awful. That's why I listen back to them too. And then if I have time, I get messages like from my journey. It's like intuitively you know what's going on, but you don't really trust your intuition. And that's like a higher level thing here. Look at, we have MB twice, and he's like taking off the mask. It's like you both are understanding something new about... Oh, look, on the bottom of the deck is hope. I feel like it's the sun, but I feel very much like that's a star energy. So interesting. Both cards are very much like this energy of envy. And look at even down to the, these are 2 different decks, the River of Gold and the green. There's something here about the shadow. I feel it. I feel it. Okay. So when I was looking at that in the camera, it looked like a mountain, but now I see it's a portal. It's kind of like you guys have yourselves locked in this cave. And suffering in silence. You don't have to keep doing that. Look at 4 of Wands again. Truth. Yeah, shadow. Love begins. Memories of love. Light. Doesn't that look like Taylor Swift? Hope. The waiting game. I don't feel like there's too much of a wait more. I feel like the wait has been epic. And there's something here about the truth being spoken. It's like, it's interesting because it looks like he's sitting on one side of the balance scales, right? We can't see the other scale. And it's almost like truth, you speaking your truth, the dark and the light, right, will release you. Will release you from this bondage of these memories of love. Look at the shadow, how it's the chakra colors there. Because there's this feeling of waiting almost in darkness or in seclusion or isolation. And not going, not planning, not moving, not going forward, not having this accelerated motion that you want to have. And that is coming up to be healed here. Whatever it is that's been like, are you using the word stopgap? I don't even know what that means. there's something holding your energy back. Yeah. Softness, blending in, observing, waiting, patience, truth, speaking truth of your shadow, and it releasing you into this beautiful spiritual ascension. It may be for some of you, you need to speak to truth to your mother. Look at playfulness again. Ancient origins, hidden meanings, messages from within, sacred mysteries, soulmate, telepathy, transmission, sending and receiving, manifesting everyday abundance. So whatever releases here is this, whatever truth you need to speak here is happening. I feel like for a lot of you, messages will be sent back and forth. Messages that clear up a confusion from a long period of time or long ago. Between you and your masculine. And one of the things that helps this happen is forgiveness from the mother wound. It's like forgiving yourself. I almost feel like most of you had to mother yourselves in a lot of ways. And as you work with the inner child, you may be like seeing, so, you know, the softer part of us has that compassion that we always did the best that we could. But there is a critical part of us that has to mourn that we spent parts of our lives as in a lot of pain and illusion and masked and darkness, because sometimes it's because we weren't courageous enough to ask for the help that we needed, and we were somewhat in a victim mode. And I see this mirrored on both sides. You may be looking at your masculine and seeing this happening on the outside. You may be like, why can't he just ask for help? And yet what they're showing me is that this is reflecting your inner child, and they're pointing to me too, by the way. So don't think I'm out of this little scenario. Like I'm getting tears in my right eye. So it's very much a mourning of our mothering experience, both our mother and ourselves, and how we sometimes took too much burden on ourselves. And so they're asking me to use my own personal example. My head's really hurting right now because I know there's a lot of things that are tied up in this between the head and the heart. And where was I going now? What do you want me to talk about? Oh, yeah. So there's a recognition when you heal about how you want to love your family so much, and you're so empathetic, and you're so, you make excuses for everybody. But when you heal, you understand that there's a dynamic in a toxic family environment that's every man for himself, right? And you begin to heal. This is like the level I've been going through here for a little while. And it's like, you're like, why isn't anyone, and there's multiple ways to describe it. It's like, I feel like everybody is fighting against me. I don't feel like anyone's fighting with me or for me or assisting me in my fight. And it can be any or all of those things, right? Or even different. Is that most of the time you feel very alone and very unsupported. And that's in a toxic family environment. And undoing all of the protection mechanisms that are around that thing. So much for a light reading. Okay. Your internal is literally showing in the mirror of your twin on the outside. And I know that's going to be a really profound, very triggering thing for some people to look at. It's almost like you've held yourself in a mental prison, right? That 8 of Swords energy. We have 9 of Swords. I think we have 10 of Swords here. Yes. We don't have the 8, and I think that's because you're coming out of it. And you know me, I love the 8 of Cups energy. It's such a profound energy. I think it's highly underrated in the tarot. Oh, and waiting for you here, I'm going to put these down. Waiting for you here after you finish this 8 of Cups is such beautiful energy. Oh, look, I didn't know it was there. I swear. There's the 8 of Swords, right? You're going to, I can do a whole reading on this right here. There's so much waiting for you here. And what I see waiting after this part of the journey is that surrender to needing love from anyone. That's what's coming through on the Ace of Cups reversed, is that you finally feel like your cup is all the way full. And I feel like we've been working towards that, and we've been getting there, and we've been feeling it for a long time. You know, because after the 8 of Cups journey comes the 9 of Cups. And, you know, understanding your own magic, understanding your own creative power, understanding you really don't need to wait for anyone to make you feel loved, because of your own ability to love yourself so much and give yourself the masculine, the feminine, and all of it, everything in between, right? I think there are some hard lessons on this particular leg of the journey for some of us. Okay, now I'm asking here what he needs to say. I need you back in my life. Your smile makes me melt. I'm going through a lot. Yes, of course he is, because you are too. Everything I do for our future and so many songs remind me of you. I definitely, when I was shuffling the animal cards, felt the music connection. On the bottom of this deck, I keep seeing signs of you everywhere I go. I do feel a level of acceptance here that I have not felt before. There is something coming through that I feel like he's getting close to moving out of doubt regarding the situation, which is such a very, very powerful place to be, which means, you know, you're ascending higher into self-love. I think you're going to have to, that's a really cute card to fall out. There's going to be some kind of part of your life where you have to surrender to spirit. For everyone, it's going to be different. There's going to be situation or situations in your life over this next period that you have no control over. That's what's coming through. That you're going to have to release your control. You do what you can do, take care of what you can take care of, and then it is what it is, and you will need to accept the consequences of it and let the chips fall where they may. So, I long for your kiss. I feel that energy. He is desiring to feel better. And not only feel better, to be better. To be like, he not only holds a mirror up to you, but, you know, at this point in his journey, when you're leaving doubt, you can see that the mirror the other way, right? You're going to go through a period of integrating shadow, and he is going to go through a period of integrating light. And this is a very important part of the journey because, and I just had seen a post that's like, it said, high vibrational people treat people high vibrationally or something like that. Is that the truth? I don't necessarily think that it is. But you will have to discover how you feel about that for yourself. Are we always perfect people that do everything perfectly? Or are we human beings with flaws and sometimes we make mistakes? I think that's closer to the reality of it. Even when we want and consider everything, we aren't going to do everything perfectly, because if we are doing that, we aren't actually living. Like I said, this is a period of forgiveness for yourself. This is a period of integrating a shadow aspect of yourself where maybe you didn't make the efforts you should have made. Maybe you didn't. This ties back into being able to ask for help and to be able to feel like you have people fighting for you and people that are holding space enough for you, enough where you can go into the darkness, right? If we aren't held in a strong enough container, we can't go into our darkness because we fear that everything will crumble around us, right? Getting to know each other. Retreat. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Soulmate, attraction, let go of control issues very soon. Healing family issues. So this is exactly what I've been talking about. Pay attention to the red flags. Chemistry, romantic feelings, and true love. Past life relationships. Pay attention to the red flags. Spirit, what is this? You know, they really, really want you to become more sensitive to your intuition. You know, there's puzzle pieces coming together and being broken apart, and coming together and being broken apart. And it's almost like the waves of an ocean where this is such a weird analogy. Okay. We're trying to fit things into spaces they don't necessarily fit in. And there's this word wholeness that keeps coming up for me and other people. It's like, to heal for me is wholeness. Now, someone else told me that they were getting wholeness as integrity. Integrity is when there's not compromise in the structure, right? Or you don't compromise your paradigm, your boundaries, your morals. Again, part of this is that butterfly, dragonfly, butterfly and dragonfly. How do I feel the runner here? Part of this is, it's like a natural tendency to be addicted to seeking love, because love is required for our survival. And the way that we've learned to get it, kind of, it becomes, lack of a better term, an addiction that we fulfill. And this is like the unraveling of when we have been shown what love is from like the narcissist empath paradigm, which almost everybody is on that spectrum. And so the twin flame paradigm is coming to kind of help unravel that, is my understanding. And that we have this addiction to the narcissistic tendencies of red flags of people, that we can see them and yet we can't get away from them. And because what we actually have to do is, you know, heal our self-love deficit. And that's that Ace of Cups reverse that they were showing us. And this is what is here, is that it always all comes back down to self-love. And, you know, the quintessential twin flame journey is that we're chasing, oh look, this card's coming out again. Love, right? We're chasing love. We're chasing our addiction to validation. We're chasing what we think is actually missing in ourselves. And when we don't get it, there's all this blaming. There's this longing to understand the other. But what it always brings us back to is understanding ourselves, right? Understanding, why do we want... The paradigm is like wanting what we can't have, wanting the emotionally unavailable, wanting what we see as a narcissistic tendency, which is just an equal protection mechanism as the empath has on the flip side, right? Keepers of the earth, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. Protection. Came up in reverse, play. Priestess. We have the High Priestess in reverse too here. Don't dim your light to fit in. Awakening. Minnetonkan. I knew that card was coming out. The Age of Light. Fill your well. As I said, and this is a reverse too, Inner Temple. This is very much that Ace of Cups energy. Such a beautiful card that you're being asked to pour the self-love into yourself, right? I feel it's like the word healing, like we've just heard it so many times. What I try to do is to bridge the gap of how can we actually do that. So I try to bring through deeper messages about that unraveling, about maybe what you're not necessarily seeing on the surface. And you know, we have this 3 card here. All the rest of these cards are alone except the protection card and the ancestor card. And they really want you to know, like, you may feel very alone through this process, but it's no different than being surrounded by people who don't have your back, aren't fighting for you, aren't fighting with you, and don't really understand you because you have to mask who you actually are, is what they're saying. And so going through a period where you feel alone and lonely is only coming to the realization that we're all one energy. And even though we may feel connection when we get together, it's no different really than the connection that we all have intrinsically, even when we're alone. So, you know, I feel like I'm saying two different things when I say, well, we need love and we need connection, or we, you know, suffer and perish without it. It's a natural thing to want. And yet sometimes when we realize and wake up that addiction to getting that connection, when we learned it in a toxic family, wow, they're really bringing it together. It's amazing. Is something we have to step back from and look at from the outside. I don't think I used the green deck at all. Okay. So I hope that shed some light onto that. And these envy cards too, we're going to wake up from an illusion that, you know, for me, this song by Aurora, A Cure for Me, has been coming into my reality, and I personally get information like that a lot. And much of our dynamics in society and in relationships is like about this curing yourself of yourself. And it's like, you can't cure yourself of yourself. You can release yourself from toxic patterns. But it's really important for you to understand that you are not your trauma. And though you may have become some things because of your trauma, like your trauma may have pushed you into learning about healing modalities, learning about whatever it is. That doesn't mean that's who you are, right? So I hope that's enough on that. Let us get some cards to see what Ascended Masters. It's not too long. It's a really deep message too. It's just what's coming through for us, you know. I feel your masculine very focused on you, and I feel the feminine not so focused on the masculine, and I feel the feminine's really they're showing me like Tinkerbell kind of tapping the feminine's forehead, then like third eye, and like the feminine like waking up to her own magic and just being kind of enchanted with herself in a way. And I think that's a beautiful energy. So you have Mezelchuk. I can't say it right, so I say it like that. He has Gaia, and in between is Mercury. Yeah, so this is lovely communication. Yeah, life force. Didn't I say that? I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing two, but we are doing two. Ascension. So we have higher learning, earth connection, open communication, soul expansion, life force, and love and peace. with that beautiful, like these two have this flower of life behind their head, this interconnectedness that I'm kind of talking about. So does she. And then in his own way, he does. I think this is kind of a throat chakra card for me. But you understand the connection between all things. And this one actually says, let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. Get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required for further progress, and be mindful of the planet. Come back to Earth and stay grounded. There is a lot of grounding energy I saw in the cards. Again, anchoring these higher vibrations into the earth seems to be very important right now. When I used to do a lot of work with the rings, that was the main thing that we would work on, is getting the energy to go around the rings, then grounding it down into the earth. Because there were so many blockages to it grounding. Healing, purification, Mother Earth, clarity. And then we have, again, the Ancient Wisdom Crystal Master Teacher card on the bottom of the deck. And, oh yeah, I usually get the, oh look, the green dragon. So much earth energy. Our hearts really want to connect with the earth. I think it's this North Node and Chiron conjunction. You have the Golden Atlantean Dragon. He has the White Gold Dragon from Lyra. And the bottom of the deck is Magenta Dragon. And between you two is Air and Fire Dragon. So you helps you to remember the wisdom of Golden Atlantis. Awaken, bring back your knowledge, gifts, and talents. Reclaim your mastery. He has connect with the highest Christ light. Develop your causal chakra. Bathe in ninth dimensional Christ light. That's a very ascended energy. It's a little surprising it came out for him, but when I start talking about the earth and my feet are pulsing. Okay. Between you is harness the creative excitement and enthusiasm. Communicate your passion with this. You know, it's very much the King and Queen of Wands energy there. Which I feel like you guys are kind of calling to each other in that really passionate way. You have emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, we must let go of resentment, and they want to for you. Power. You instinctively know what is right for you and have the power to say no or walk away anytime. I do feel like that's regarding your mother. He has sacred union, honor, and treasure your relationship, for it's truly sacred. And healing. Imagine yourself and your beloved surrounded by light. Feel your relationship being healed at this very moment. Between you is balance. Love is not always about agreeing just for the sake of it. A great relationship is one that both supports and challenges. Freedom. There is nothing stopping you. The path is clear if you want it to be. And this is one of my favorite cards. I just love it. Look deep within your heart. You will feel my love. My love for you is as deep as the ocean. And then on the bottom, we have my beloved. Though we may be physically apart, spiritually, we are always united. For love transcends space and time, and nothing is missing, right? You don't lack anything. There's nothing lacking between you. And you're just on a process of uncovering and discovering. All right, I hope that helps you. And if you want a reading, it's on my Etsy store. And thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. It means the world to me. Bye-bye. Oh, we're almost to 44 again. So I'll just let it get there. Bye for now.